Hello, everyone. I'm very honored to attend the Face Interface Global Type Design Human-Computer Interaction Conference. I would like to thank Professor Malini for the invitation and the organizers and all the staff.
As we know, Hanzi has been the main script in ancient China, modern China for thousands of years.
Through Hanzi, a high degree of cultural identity was built among many countries in East Asia, forming the East Asian cultural sphere. The ideographic Hanzi is very different from the phonetic alphabet like Latin, so under the Western technical discourse, Hanzi was once faced with the dilemma of being abolished. That is why the Chinese version of Chinese typewriter has caused a huge response, with the Chinese readers discussing how Hanzi has overcome the barriers in the past 100 years. On behalf of Chinese readers, I would like to thank Professor Malini for his research. The Oracle bone script that we talk about today was discovered in 1899 and deciphered more than 100 years ago. Almost at the same time, the Chinese people were facing the question of how Hanzi should look to the past and to the future. Today, I will talk about the Oracle bone script with Kushim Jiang from Huazhong University of Science and Technology. We can divide the history of Hanzi into two stages, the ancient and the modern. The Oracle bone script is in the early stage of the ancient scripts, about more than 3,000 years ago. During the long process of script evolution, the shape, sound, and meaning changed a lot, so that the public knowledge of the Oracle bone scripts is limited. Although we say that the sun goes different in 10 miles, the hands go beyond the time and space to become a link of communication by its ideographic characteristics. After thinking about how to make people have a better understanding of the script and the root of the Chinese culture, my colleague Professor Yang Zhong and I came up with the idea of using picture books, which explains the profound truths in simple statements in the form of combination of words and images. In the process of making the picture books, we have learned about the type design and the encoding of the scripts. The Oracle Bone Picture Book series is an elaborate work of cross-field cooperation among different professions, which took 3 years to complete, covering animals, plants, astronomy, geography, ethics, and so on. The series not only show the contemporary Chinese aesthetics in the pictures, but also make an objective reproduction of Shang dynasty, aims at the characteristic of children's books, has done field research and expert consultation on literature and cultural related materials. This figure shows the various aspects of this project, explaining that we need people from different disciplines to collaborate in order to create the picture books of the scripts.
Okay, so we will tell the story of the Oracle bone script from the introduction of the script, its encoding situation, and its type design. First, we introduce the context of the era, Shang period. This map shows the human activities that has been detected during the Shang period, with the red box showing the central area of the Shang dynasty, located in the Yellow River Basin. Inherited documents indicate that the Shang dynasty moved its capital 6 times, and the last capital, Yin, was located in Anyang City, Henan Province. According to records of the Shang lineage in the unearthed Oracle bone document and inherited document, the Shang dynasty had 31 kings in 17 generations, from the founding of Chengtang to the defeat of Dixin. According to the result of the archaeological dating by Mr. Tang Jigen, the Shang dynasty can be divided into earlier Shang, middle Shang, and late Shang, and in ruins correspond to the late Shang period, from the time when Pan Gen moved the capital to Yin to the time of the Shang's demise. Over the past 100 years, more than 100,000 pieces of oracles and bones have been unearthed from the Yin ruins. More than 4,000 character groups have been discovered, of which more than 1,000 character groups have been successfully interpreted and recognized. Among the recognizable ancient writing materials found in China, the Oracle bone script is the earliest one, from which we can see that the Hanzi had already matured, and the application of writing languages had already reached a certain level. We will show some typical oracles and bones. This is a piece of oracle in the Shi group, small character class, which has clear shapes and thin strokes. We can see that the oracle bone script is carved, but in fact, a few of them were also written by brushes. From the Shang dynasty to the Warring State period, the main method of writing was to write on bamboo slips and the wooden pieces by brushes, which are easy to decay and have not been unearthed so far. In addition, the content of this piece is related to divining the weather, which shows that Yin people had great respect for the gods and the kings of Shang led people to serve the gods. No matter what they met, they had to consult the gods through divination. For example, asking whether it will rain, whether there will be a harvest in agriculture, whether there will be a victory in war, anti-fertility, disease, dreaming, etc., which was the function of the script. This is a piece of oracle in being group typical class, and the sentence can be explained as Zheng divines in Xin Wei. If Fu Hao supports Zhi Guo to attack Ba Fang, and the king goes deep from the east, while the enemy fall into Fu Hao's ambush. We can see that the meaning contained in these 25 characters is quite rich and quite clearly expressed. This is also a piece of oracle in being group typical class. The style is robust and powerful, the shape is regular, the character is large, and the stroke is thin. And we should point out that the two P's, A and B, in the figure were matched and assembled by an AI-based artifact assembling system. The system was developed by the Computational Jaguarology Research Group in the NLP laboratory of the Department of Computer Science and Technology, Tsinghua University, and the results were verified by the Research Center for Unearthed Documents and Ancient Scripts, Fudan University. Then we will describe the encoding of the script. In November 2003, the China National Body proposed to IRG entitled China Proposal for Old Hanzi Encoding, suggesting that the collation of various Asian script and the development of the character set should be carried out under WG2 IRG. Then the Old Hanzi Interest Group was established under IRG in 2003 and was transferred to WG2 after 2012. From the first resolution of the Old Hanzi Interest Group, we can see that the group explored the relationship between ancient scripts and modern scripts, pointing out that the two parts of different systems have complex and many-to-many chronological correspondence, so the ancient script neither can nor should be defined in the existing character set of the modern pseudo-unified ideographs, and separate blocks should be created. We agree with these views. And since 2004, a team from Beijing Normal University and the Academia Sinica in Taiwan province began to collate the oracle bone materials and form a repertoire. In 2010, the Old Hanzi Interest Group completed the first version of the repertoire, which contains 9,572 glyphs. The original plan was to continue with the second round review, but Professor Liu Zhiji pointed out that when he attended WG2 number 64 in Matsue, he asked Professor Kobayashi Tatsuo about the encoding, and the response was that the glyphs in the repertoire was undifferentiated and thus not suitable for encoding. And Professor Liu Zhiji wrote that we have had efforts to encode the ancient script into the UCS, but have not yet achieved the expected result due to reasons such as disagreement of IRG and WG2 and so on and so on. We can show a part of the repertoire here. For the character king, there are 20 glyphs in it, and many glyphs essentially duplicate, and the differences are too tiny to distinguish. And the experts believe that the straight, curved stroke, filled or not filled glyphs, and large or small character have become an important criterion for staging of the oracle bone script, so it's necessary for these differences to be reflected in the character's layout. This is the contradiction. However, the bigger problem is that the repertoire is based on the idea of glyph organizing in the era of code character set, and they didn't summarize the glyphs into characters by variation unification and using IVD data structure. As a result, the proposal cannot pass the vote, so to carry out a character set that can be recognized, it's necessary to do the unification. We can list some of the situations that may require further discussion in the unification process. For example, there is almost no difference between Qi and Jia. Some scholars say that the stroke length of Jia is the same, and Qi has a longer horizontal stroke. This view is not accurate and cannot cover all the cases. And even Qi and Jia appear in the same piece of oracle, there is no obvious difference either. In this case, some scholars believe that the two should be disunified because of different meanings and cognition, while others believe that they should be unified because of the same glyphs. We can also know that the variation relationship is related to the period, place, and cover of the script. Using the analysis of the diviners and the content, we can organize the oracle bone material by groups. Using the analysis of carving style, stroke thickness, and the size of the characters, we can organize the materials by classes. When combining the two methods, we can describe the materials in a certain period, a certain place, and a certain cover into class groups. That is to say, the variation relationship is related to the class groups. For example, Yong and Zai are strictly distinguished in the first 4 class groups, but are mixed in the last one. When we established the variation relationships, it will appear that the same glyph could be derived from different glyphs. In this case, some scholars believe that they should be disunified, and the relationship should be additionally declared, while others believe that they should be unified to any of them, and we should use frequency to decide which one is the target character. The cases can be mixed to form more complex situation. Here, Shi and Yin had a 假借 borrowing relationship, and the related glyphs can be unified into a single characters, but Yin and Huang are confused only in Huang class and need further discussion. And we generally distinguish between unifiable variation and disunifiable variation through the difference in components. But some scholars believe that some disunifiable variation is produced within the component, which requires further discussion on the difference of unifiable variation and disunifiable variation in Oracle bone script. Here are two examples, Zhong and Shang. Some scholars use Fenhua, differentiate, to describe this phenomena, like the duties originally performed by one character are shared by several. For example, Zhong 1 and Zhong 2 was originally cognate, but was differentiated in the Oracle bone script. And whether this differentiation resulted in a unifiable or disunifiable variation needs to be discussed. In general, we suggest that the main work to be done should be to analyze the glyph relationships based on repertoire and to reunify the characters through the variation relationships. Since many institutions have established Oracle bone database, the existing conditions are better than ever, and it is also possible to compare Oracle bone characters through informatization methods. So today, 20 years later, we have richer materials and stronger ability to push forward the collation of Oracle bone materials and development of character set.
Now we have completed our introduction to the encoding, and I will describe the design of the script from the perspective of typography in the picture box. As we know, a large number of Oracle bone characters are formed through pictographs and ideographs. The shapes are based on the sun, moon, mountains, rivers, wine, cloud, thunder, lightning, animals, plants, and human organs, all from the equipment and artifacts in daily life, social activities, and military operations. Because many artifacts enter the Oracle bone scripts, Professor Tang Jigen once used the comparative study of the artifacts with the chronologic features and the Oracle bone characters to deduce the time of the formation of the scripts. For the Oracle bone picture books, the principle of type design is different from the other cases. Since the design served children education and has the attribute of a teaching material, the glyphs must be correct, and correct glyphs can carry correct information. In Chinese calligraphy and design circles, we can often find self-created Oracle bone characters which are not in the character books and are not known to the experts. Because the public is not familiar with it, they cannot judge the correctness of randomly designed glyphs. We try to find a balance between accuracy and design, and each character has its original evidence, which the shapes are basically the same. Our team is previously worked on Heiti, Songti, Nushu, Tangu scripts, Khitan small scripts, Jianzi musical notation, and Gongche musical notation, and this is the first time that we are used the principle of creation by non-creation. There are two types of materials we can refer to when designing. One is directly imprinting from the literature or using the technique methods to improve the clearness, and the other is written by experts. The former is faithful to the original glyphs, but sometimes the resolution of the pictures is very poor, and they are also broken and missing the strokes due to the scratches or damage, which makes it difficult to judge the shape. Take the tiger as an example. Based on the literature, after communicating with the expert, the shapes was corrected, and here we mark the teeth, the length, the tail in yellow, and we also reduce the weight of the tiger as a beast. And I will introduce how we help the readers to understand the Oracle bone script through the typography design by using some concrete examples. There are so many variants in the Oracle bone scripts. To fully demonstrate this feature, we will conclude many variants on the page. The character Yu means to give birth, and these shapes describe a mother giving birth to a child. The child is written upside down, and the baby's head facing down. The last two characters even draw the amniotic fluid giving birth, and the last character draws the clothing to wrap the baby, which is very vivid. Oracle bone scripts and modern scripts have a complex correspondence. At first, we made one-to-one relation, but this cannot reflect the characteristic of the scripts. When we added many variants, experts in Asian Hanzi found that some variants did not correspond to the meaning that we want to introduce. For example, these characters are all zi, but some of them means kids, and others means the first of earlier bronze, which used for recording time. According to the context, To avoid misinterpretation, we deleted all the zi characters that means the first of our earthly branch. Jing and Xing are cognate, and the distinction depends on the context. There are many variants of Jing and Xing in the Oracle bomb script. The squares, circles, or sun shapes in Chinese can be written 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times. To reflect this relationship, the picture book shows these variants in a lively and interesting way. The moon and the dusk are also cognate. The left word moon and the right word moon represent the moon in a different day. That is the first quarter and the last quarter. It is commonly believed that the moon shape with a stroke means moon, and the shape without a stroke means dusk. But in the early stage, the material shows the opposite situation. Through our design, we have visualized the relationship between the glyphs and the meanings, and the reason for this change is still a mystery. In nature, there are many things that look very different, but when simplified into shapes, they are very similar. This is the case with the mountain and the fire. Therefore, at first, it was difficult to distinguish between mountain and fire by their glyphs. Later on, probably the Asian people also found it inconvenient to use mountain and fire in the same form, so they added dots to indicate fire. So the shape with or without the dot becomes the fundamental difference between mountain and fire. The character for fire today still remains these dots. For the case of Fu, we first choose Zhao, the brown, but later on we choose the character Fu, the women, which is easy for the readers to accept. In fact, the character Zhou originally represented a woman with a broom as a sweeping tool because in the Chinese cultural tradition, the man is in charge of the outside world and the woman is in charge of the inside world. The yellow form on the left is the sitting woman and the green character on the right is the broom. The left page is about the character Nat, and the little person is catching a bird with a white net. The character Luo means the net for catching birds, but later on, it was also used for catching animals. So to strengthen the reader's impression, we added more characters in the lower right corner. To echo the picture, the net is in white and animals are in brown. So we have the characters of catching deer, catching tiger, catching rabbit, and catching pig. On the right page, we can see that the character may have many kinds of component combinations, and we have used different colors to make it more intuitive.
In the picture, the red one represents the component Nu, and the green one represents the component Wei.
Most of the characters that contain You are related to wine, so we add many characters that contain You. Those origin with one is difficult to know today. For example, the traditional form for Yi means medical science has the component You. There is a saying in Chinese medical theory that wine is the best of all medicines. This is to say that using yellow wine as a guide for healing is the best. The phonetic component is also Hanzi, so sometimes the phonetic component can also be used to indicate the meanings, where the shapes are different. For example, the character house on the left show a board under the roof, both the board and the house pronounced Jia, so the component indicates both the meaning and the sum. The character house on the right shows a pig under the roof, so the component only indicates the meaning. In 说文解字, the character wife means the husband and the wife have equal status and respect each other, but the oracle bomb's character shows a hand grasping a woman's hair, which represents the bride kidnapping in Asian era. This custom looks barbaric, but it is actually an important step for mankind to avoid inbreeding and move forward civilization. So we adjust the picture to reflect the scene of this custom. This is the main creative team of the picture book series. The program, justification, and design revisions took 3 years, more than 17 oracle bomb characters, 16 students, and nearly 7,000 drawings were created, and finally 10 books were published. This project has exposed us to unprecedented difficulties, and I can now appreciate what Mr. Dong Zuobing once said. I'm often faced with a piece of oracle bone, then I'm stunned. Here are the photos of the team working and interacting. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the expert and the team that worked on this project. Thank you for having us.